Let's start our first news with Michael Morales, who appears to be facing a serious challenge ahead of UFC 330. As the event quickly approaches, Morales is currently weighing around 193 pounds, while he is expected to make the 170-pound limit as the backup fighter for the highly anticipated Islam versus Ian Gary matchup next weekend. That means Morales would need to lose roughly 23 pounds in just 5 days. Naturally, that has raised plenty of eyebrows among fans, because cutting that much weight in such a short period is an extremely difficult task. Morales recently gave fans a look at his current weight by posting a video on social media, showing himself standing on the scale. The number reportedly read 193 pounds, immediately leading to speculation about whether he could realistically reach the welterweight limit in time. But Morales doesn't seem worried. Instead of showing doubt, he appeared to be fully committed to the challenge. He later posted a picture on Instagram with the caption, "We have to save this card." In the image, Morales was seen inside a body sauna while wearing a Spider-Man mask, clearly suggesting that he has already started working toward making the weight. The post quickly caught the attention of MMA fans, especially because the timeline is so tight. Dropping 23 pounds in 5 days would be an enormous cut, and it could potentially become even more difficult as he gets closer to the official weigh-in. However, Morales himself appears confident that he can get the job done and be ready if he is needed as the backup fighter. Being a backup means Morales would need to be fully prepared to step in on short notice if either fighter is unable to compete. That makes his weight cut especially important, because simply being available isn't enough. He needs to actually hit the required limit. For now, Morales is clearly putting in the work, and the Spider-Man sauna post shows just how seriously he is taking the situation. With UFC 330 approaching fast, all eyes will be on Morales and his weight as the official weigh-in gets closer. Move on to another news. Daniel Cormier has opened up about his long-running beef with Conor, and according to DC, the tension goes much deeper than their public back and forth. Over the years, Cormier and Conor have exchanged plenty of criticism. At one point, Cormier called out Conor for targeting Diego Sanchez, which led to Conor firing back with an insult aimed directly at DC. But Cormier says the real issue isn't simply trash talk. He explained that Conor crossed a completely different line during the build-up to his fight with Khabib Nurmagomedov by bringing up topics involving family and religion. According to Cormier, those subjects are considered off-limits within his team. He emphasized that he knows how seriously his teammates and brothers take their faith and their families, which is why he believes certain comments are difficult, if not impossible, to move past. Cormier compared the situation to his own complicated relationship with Jon Jones. He admitted that his team has strong negative feelings toward Jones, but despite those emotions, they were eventually able to put their differences aside and work professionally. DC believes the situation with Conor is different. He explained that people can sometimes move beyond personal conflicts when both sides are willing to let things go. But in his view, Conor's comments went too far, creating a level of resentment that has prevented any real relationship from developing. Cormier also addressed the connection between Conor and Khabib's team. He said that Khabib's close circle has maintained a similar attitude, with many people refusing to even mention Conor's name. DC described Khabib as a man of honor and suggested that the respect within his team remains strong because of how deeply they value their principles. So, despite the years that have passed, Cormier believes the tension surrounding Conor hasn't simply disappeared. For both teams, the issues remain deeply personal, and there appears to be little relationship between them even today. Move on to another news. Max Holloway recently found himself debating an Ilia fan over the shocking result of the Justin Gaethje fight. During one of his recent live streams, Max discussed the matchup and explained that he believed Gaethje had a real chance of winning. However, he admitted that he originally expected Gaethje's best path to victory to involve his devastating leg kicks. Max pointed out that Gaethje was already having success with those kicks, and he thought they could eventually make a major difference in the fight. The conversation then shifted toward Ilia's incredible record. The fan emphasized that Ilia had never lost a professional fight and argued that he should have been considered the favorite. Max pushed back slightly, clarifying that he wasn't saying Gaethje would definitely win. He simply believed Gaethje could win, especially because many people were counting him out before the fight. The debate became even more heated when the Ilia fan praised Gaethje as one of the greatest fighters of his generation, while also discussing the striking abilities displayed during the matchup. At one point, the fan became visibly frustrated with the result and even suggested that something about the fight felt unusual. He compared the shocking outcome to something you might see in WWE, clearly expressing his disbelief at how everything unfolded. However, the reaction appeared to be driven by emotion rather than any actual evidence of wrongdoing. The fan admitted that he had placed money on Ilia, and watching the result unfold was especially painful because his prediction had gone the wrong way. Max responded by joking that the fan had simply picked the wrong fighter that night. The exchange showed just how much emotion surrounded the fight, with fans still debating the result and discussing whether Gaethje had been underrated going into the matchup. Move on to another news. Alex Volkanovski appears to be preparing for what could be his next major featherweight title defense against Movsar Evloev. While the official bout agreement has not been signed yet, Volkanovski has made it clear that he believes Evloev is the most logical contender for the next title opportunity. More importantly, the champion has already started preparing as if the fight is going to happen. Volkanovski recently revealed that he is back in training camp and has been putting in multiple sessions each day. He explained that there is still no official confirmation regarding the date or location, but he believes the matchup is becoming increasingly obvious. For Evloev, this could be the title opportunity he has been waiting years to receive. The undefeated contender has built an impressive record while defeating several high-level opponents. But he has repeatedly found himself waiting while other fighters receive championship opportunities. That situation has become increasingly frustrating, especially considering how long Evloev has remained unbeaten. Daniel Cormier even argued that Evloev has been treated worse than Arman when it comes to getting the title opportunities his resume deserves. Now, however, things appear to be moving in the right direction. With Volkanovski publicly pushing for the matchup and already beginning his preparation, Evloev finally looks like the clear next challenger for the featherweight championship. During a recent training update, Volkanovski talked about being back in Thailand and getting stuck into his sessions. He mentioned completing 3 training sessions in the morning and explained that it felt good to be back and working hard. When asked whether the increased training meant something was coming, Volkanovski admitted that there is still nothing officially confirmed. However, he said the possibility of fighting Evloev is obvious enough that he needs to start preparing now. He specifically mentioned getting the wrestling work in early, which makes perfect sense considering Evloev's style and his ability to control opponents with grappling. Volkanovski's approach suggests that he isn't waiting for the UFC to finalize every detail before taking the matchup seriously. Instead, he is treating the situation like game on and making sure he is ready whenever the official confirmation arrives. The date and location may still need to be finalized, but with Volkanovski already deepening his preparation and Evloev seemingly sitting at the front of the line, this matchup is looking increasingly likely to become the next featherweight title fight. Move on to another news. Ilia has finally sent a message to Paddy Pimblet after keeping a relatively low profile following his stoppage loss to Justin Gaethje. Since that defeat, the former champion has largely stayed away from the spotlight. Instead of regularly appearing in interviews or addressing the media, Ilia has only made occasional appearances on social media, giving fans very little insight into what comes next for him. However, he recently broke that silence with a short but noticeable message aimed directly at Pimblet. Ilia responded to one of Pimblet's recent Instagram posts by calling him a mushroom. It was a simple comment, but considering the history between these two fighters, it immediately caught the attention of MMA fans. The exchange came after Pimblet attempted to turn Ilia's recent defeat into another opportunity for trolling. The British lightweight recently claimed that he had purchased the exact corner stool that Ilia was sitting on when the fight against Gaethje was stopped. The comment was clearly designed to mock Ilia's defeat and keep their long-running rivalry alive. Rather than responding with a lengthy statement, Ilia chose a much shorter approach. His mushroom comment was enough to fire another shot back at Pimblet without turning the situation into a full-blown public argument. The rivalry between these two fighters has been building for quite some time, and their personalities are almost guaranteed to create headlines whenever they interact. Ilia has been relatively quiet since his loss, while Pimblet has continued to capitalize on the result and use it as ammunition in their ongoing back and forth. That has only added more tension between the two lightweights as both fighters look toward their next moves. For Ilia, the priority now appears to be recovering, regrouping, and figuring out what comes next after suffering the first loss of his professional career. For Pimblet, meanwhile, the opportunity to continue provoking his longtime rival seems too entertaining to ignore. Whether their rivalry eventually turns into an official fight remains to be seen, but the latest exchange proves that the bad blood hasn't disappeared. Even while staying mostly out of the spotlight, Ilia is still keeping an eye on Pimblet, and one short comment was enough to remind everyone that this rivalry is far from over. Move on to another news. Conor has given fans his first look at his recovery just 5 days after undergoing surgery on his right knee. The former UFC champion recently suffered a ruptured ACL and meniscus injuries, requiring surgery to repair the damage. Now, just days after the procedure, Conor has shared a short video showing the condition of his injured knee. Despite the seriousness of the injury and the early stage of his recovery, Conor appeared to be in positive spirits. In the video, he proudly showed off his knee while highlighting the progress of his recovery. He also delivered a confident message, saying, "That's what setting records looks like." He then emphasized that this was only day 5 following the surgery. The update gives fans an early glimpse into what the recovery process looks like for Conor. At this stage, the focus is naturally on healing and beginning the rehabilitation process, rather than rushing back into competition. Knee injuries, particularly damage involving the ACL and meniscus, can require a lengthy recovery, so the road ahead is likely to involve significant rehabilitation and patience. Still, Conor's latest video suggests that he is approaching the situation with the same confidence he has displayed throughout his career. Rather than hiding the injury, he chose to show fans exactly where things currently stand, only days after undergoing surgery. The former champion has dealt with major setbacks before, and this latest challenge represents another difficult chapter in his career. For now, his attention appears to be firmly focused on recovery and getting his body back to full strength. With the surgery behind him, the next phase will be rehabilitation, rebuilding his knee, and gradually working toward a return to training. For Conor, this is only the beginning of the comeback process, with day 5 marking the first step on what could be a long road back. Move on to another news. The UFC has added several interesting matchups to its upcoming schedule, with multiple fighters looking to bounce back and get themselves back into the win column. First, the UFC's September 25th card will feature a matchup involving Castaneda, who is coming off a draw with Mark Bowe back in April. Over his last 5 fights, Castaneda has gone 2-2 with 1 draw, so he will be looking to build some momentum with a strong performance. Standing across from him will be Alex Tang Haley, who hasn't competed since April 2025. In his most recent fight, he suffered a unanimous decision loss to Dem Blackshear. Haley has gone 3-2 across his last 5 appearances, making this another important opportunity to get his career moving in the right direction. Both fighters have plenty to prove, and that should make this matchup especially interesting. Meanwhile, another fight has been announced for the September 26th card, with Montel Jackson taking on bantamweight veteran Ricky Simon. Jackson enters the matchup looking to end a difficult stretch after suffering back-to-back decision losses against Hani Barcelos and Davison Figueiredo. Before those defeats, Jackson had been on an impressive 6-fight winning streak, so he will be determined to return to his winning ways. Simon is also searching for a bounce-back performance. He fought Adrian Yanez to a draw in his most recent outing this past April, following a unanimous decision loss to Barcelos in November. That means both fighters will have plenty of motivation heading into this matchup, with each man desperate to get back into the win column. And finally, another matchup has reportedly been announced for UFC 332 on October 3rd, with Alden Cormier set to face Rodriguez. With several new fights being added across these upcoming cards, the UFC schedule continues to take shape, and these matchups could provide important opportunities for fighters looking to revive their momentum.